Welcome to My Why, a series of personal stories that share the history and impact of YPN, the premier provider of prenatal and parenting programs in East Central Iowa. We support, educate, and empower families since 1985. Join us in our mission and learn the why YPN for so many in our community.
Welcome to another episode of My Why, a podcast by YPN. My name is Alejandro Pino, and I am honored and privileged to serve as Executive Director of YPN. So we want to welcome all the listeners today. And I got to say, today is a little bit special. And honestly, I really don't know how this person got on the list. Totally messing with you, Mike. Mike Glavan is here. And truthfully, as I kind of think about you, my friend, it's you stand out. And I would think you're probably the top 1%, and this is a good thing, top 1% when it comes to people stepping up and giving back to the community and to YPN. So I just want to commend you right from the get-go here as somebody who's really, truly, inspiring to many of us as well, too. So welcome, Mike. We're super glad to have you here. Thanks for joining us. So as a quick intro, Mike is about a 5-year volunteer for YPN. He's been instrumental with our dad's program as well, but I will kind of turn it over to you to share kind of a little bit about yourself with the audience. So whatever you want to share, Mike.
Well, thanks, AP. It's been an honor for me to serve YPN for the last 5 years. I'm a 60-year-old guy. I'm from Joliet, Illinois. I was raised by a great family, great parents. I two brothers. Heck, we lived in a little one-bedroom apartment or a house ourselves. Mm-hmm. And when I went to open up the trundle bed, you couldn't even open the bedroom door. But I thought I had a great upbringing, and I loved every minute of it. I went to Catholic grade school. We went to an all-guys Catholic high school. I went to University of Iowa, and that's where I met my wife, who's from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and that's how I ended up here in good old Cedar Rapids.
That's awesome. Go Hawks, right?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Go Caitlin.
Yeah, exactly. So as we kind of turn to YPN, obviously you've already had a tremendous impact on the organization, and honestly, our staff loves you, our participants love you, board loves you, everybody kind of knows Mike. But tell us a little bit about what led you to YPN.
Sure. Actually, it was my wife. She's an attorney here in town, and she one of her workers talked about YPN and said, geez, Kathleen, maybe you should like to get involved. And then Kathleen was getting involved, and then she went a few weeks, and she said, geez, Mike, maybe you'd like to do that. I know you'd like that. Back in Illinois, there was a place, Father John Smith had a place where kids that were wards of the state, they'd go to a house and we'd go volunteer. So we've done this type of stuff, and we thought, hey, that sounds great. So I started coming on Thursday nights and then working with the kids, and then I really enjoyed being around young people. The staff is great, and I just consider myself an extrovert, as you might know, and I just love the energy of everything. So no, I just truly enjoyed looking forward to coming and volunteering. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I love that story, and it looks like both of us kind of married up.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Right.
Definitely.
I mean, my bar's pretty low, so she, I was always looking up. You bet.
So tell me, kind of as you've been at YPN for about 5 years, you might have seen some of the changes that we've gone through. So maybe touch on that a little bit. Just tell me a little bit about YPN as you see it today.
You bet. Yeah, like you said, 5 years ago, I came to YPN, and I actually just started out in the daycare facility, and watching little babies and stuff like that while the parents went and got some education classes that you guys provide them. And I mean, I thought that was great. And I mean, brought me back to the days. I was a stay-at-home dad for 5 years with our first two, so I really enjoyed that experience. And then as I got more into it, I said, geez, I think I can do a little more here. And YPN back then was for the young parents, but then as things changed and evolved, for instance, like the Afghan families that came and all the different things that YPN does, which I thought was cool. And so we just keep doing more things with as YPN brings in different folks, and it's good to see that.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're proud of, Mike, too, and I'm sure hopefully you feel this a little bit as well, is that and we certainly can't be everything to everybody, but we want to be inclusive, because really parenting and, having kids is really universal. It's a universal need. So that guidance, that support that we're able to provide really kind of breaks the barriers, and the borders and all that fun stuff too. So hopefully you've seen a little bit of that transition as well.
A lot of it, yes, and even for myself personally, I mean, when I see this stuff happening, I'm like, wow, Mikey, I'm here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa for the last 27 years, and all of a sudden I see these Afghan families, and I thought they were cool as heck, and these little kids running around, and the mothers and everything. I said, and it just opens your eyes to, like you said, we're all just one big family, really, and trying to make things work.
That's right. Yeah, I've learned so much from our families, that's for sure. So, as you've worked with the families at YPN now for a while, especially with our dad's group too, which is very impactful, how do the families at YPN inspire you, Mike?
Well, I come on Thursday nights to lead the dads group and serve dinner for them, a little meal and stuff like that. I'm inspired by when I see these mothers and dads come, the effort it takes for them to even get there on a Thursday night and evening. I mean, they go through work and class and school, then they get picked up by buses, some of them, and they get there. I mean, this is the dead of winter, the heat of summer, and they come with these little kids, and I at my age, I'm looking at them going, man, I mean, they go through a lot to get here, and it's great that they can sit with your staff for an hour and get educated on different things, but boy, the work it takes, they really want to be here, which I just am encouraged by. I just think that is so cool that these folks go through all this effort, and so that's what inspires me. I mean, I'm sitting here complaining, about going to the grocery store. These people go through a ton of stuff, and we're talking little babies with car seats and all this other stuff they have with the kids, and then they have to leave the kids for an hour as the kids are crying as they go to class. I mean, they go through a lot physically, emotionally. It's a long day for them. I mean, most of them obviously are working, and then we don't get out of here till 7:00. So I'm like, boy, if they can take the effort to get here, I certainly can spend the time here.
You bring up such an amazing point, and one that we often have to remind ourselves of is how proud we should be of the families that we work with.
Oh,
right?
Terrific. Yes.
99% of the families that come to YPN's program are there because they want to be. Nobody's forcing them to be there.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's the amazing part. Yeah, I mean, they're just coming. They're just coming to be around other people. You can tell that.
That's right.
And that's what I think is so great, because that's what these folks don't have most of the time. Like when I grew up, I had a strong family unit there all the time. A lot of these folks I learned is they didn't. They were missing one of their spouses or one of the family members, and they had to go alone. So they didn't have someone to turn to when things got tough.
Yes.
So, and then they come here and they you can just see them interacting with the other people, and you think, wow, is that great how they're bonding with each other, because they're all going through similar situations.
100%. Yeah, thank you for that, Mike. And then, obviously you've already impacted the organization and the families already, but as you look kind of forward and, kind of long-term a little, how do you hope to continue to impact the staff and the families at YPN?
Well, what I try to do, and it's not a specific thing to say, I try to, whenever I come to something, I try to bring energy and a positive attitude, because
you do, my friend.
I mean, that's to me. And if I can make someone chuckle a little bit, just from just looking at life a little differently, because my gosh, that's the other thing about volunteering. The YPN staff, I mean, I've been seeing them for 5 years. You just get close to these people, and you realize that it's neat seeing them and learning about them. And it's just more than just the volunteering aspect, the bonds you do. Yeah, it's great to see these people, all of them. And so I just like to bring energy, and I hope when they see me, they're like, hey, here's Mike. If we need him to empty the garbage, he'll empty the garbage. If we need him to hold the crying baby, he'll do that. Yes. I hope that I bring a little relief to them, and just know that I'm here to, hey, what can we do together to get through the night or do stuff. So I just, and I hope to, once again, just to bring a little positive energy to the group.
That's a great description of who you are as a person. I will say, there's not many people in the world that after you interact with them, you feel better. You're one of those people. So,
well, I appreciate that. To be honest with you, that's if I can make someone chuckle and just put a smile on their face, I hate to say it, but that really makes my day.
And you do, No, we appreciate that about you most of the time.
Well, that hurt a little bit.
No, you're good. So as as we kind of analyze the families a little bit and the changing nature of their needs as well, what are some of the changes in the families that you've seen throughout your experience at YPN?
Well, what I try to instill with our dads is, because once again, we're all going through, this together, and I've been married for 37 years, and I try to tell them life's it's just not all, candy canes. Right. And it's hard sometimes. Yes. You've been married 37 years, you got it all figured out. No, I got news for you. Year number 37 is just as tough as year number 5 sometimes. So I try to share with them that we're all in this together, and they need to be open to what their spouse or their partner is communicating to them, and just be a little bit flexible. I know it's hard sometimes, and sometimes when they're down, and then I know they're sometimes going through difficult things, with legally and everything else. And I just try to say, hey, just keep going at it, and be open. And it's all about the kids too. I always tell them. Put your perspective. The kids need both parents or two involved in my the way I see it. So please just be open and give them the respect so that your kids see that and they know that you respect the spouse. Because your kids, as we say to them, your kids see everything you do and they learn from you. So, please be open to that and be open to what's best for your kids.
Yeah, that's right. One of the things too, in working with the dads group, and we both know this, Mike, is that sometimes it's difficult for the fellas to show up.
Yes,
right.
Yes,
for dads to show up,
it's just not cool for dads.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's difficult. But one of the great things that you do too, and this goes back to your wonderful personality, is that you can relate. You still, even though you're kind of up there in years,
Moses. They call me Moses. The kids.
Right. No, you can still relate, and you get it because we've gone through it, right?
Right. Well, that's what I try to, when I say to them, hey, we all introduce ourselves and what our background is. And I said, hey, I'm Mike. I'm 60 years old. I got 3 kids, and I stayed home with our first 2 kids for 5 years. And back then, no offense, that was my 31 years ago. Mm-hmm. It wasn't so cool, but I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that I could stay home with the kids. And I'd say to them, I've got a couple stay-at-home dads in my group, and I'd say to them, everybody says you get to do what you want. And I said, no, you do what the kids want. I mean, it's their schedule, and you work around it. But no, so I do feel like I can relate to them sometimes, and I think they see that and realize that, I really enjoy that aspect.
Well, we respect you for having done that, so thanks for that. When you look at also the barriers too, what are some of the barriers that have kind of popped up for you that you've noticed?
Well, some of the kids, once again, I was blessed to have, 2 parents growing up my whole life, and some of these young adults, they don't have that, so they don't have the, some of these old beliefs that they've been grown up with, and they haven't been able to talk to anybody about them. So that's where I think it's, kind of the old school standard. And I say something to them, what, guys, you got to be a little more flexible, with your spouse and the gals. I said, you got to give them time. You got to take care of the kid. I mean, I don't think my dad changed a diaper, but that was, 80 years ago. So guess what? We have to, be open to doing all that different stuff. That's and there's nothing wrong with it. Nope. I mean, we're all on the same team together, trying to raise these kids and do the best we can, and it's a partnership. So let's treat it that way. And if I need to take out the garbage and clean the house, that's what I'll do while you're at work. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes I just, the whole man thing. Geez, I'm not, clean the house. I'm like, hey, well, if you don't clean the house, then your wife's got to clean the house. Then why? So what's wrong with you doing it if you have the time and your kids are napping or stuff like that? So be open to that. And I think sometimes they just haven't. It takes a while, but I think they get there the more they hear it and see that.
Absolutely. No, and there's great role models, obviously, that they have in you as well. So, Mike, as we kind of end the interview here, one of the biggest questions that we have, and certainly one of the reasons why we do what we do during this podcast, is to answer the question, what is your why, Mike? So as you kind of reflect on that, how would you define what is your why?
Sure. And to be honest with you, that's easy for me because my why is that I've been given such a great life, a great family life, great friends, great parents, great brothers. I'm a runner. I like to run every morning, and I do that. And my son said to me one time, geez, Dad, you like to run? I said, no, I really don't like to run that much. I like to reflect for an hour every morning and think, how good I have it. Yeah. Why did I have such a great family life? Why do I have such great friends? Why have I been given so much? I'm sitting in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, or Joliet, Illinois. I mean, I've had a great, every day has been so great. So I sit there and go, why can't I give back? I mean, my gosh, it'd be ridiculous not to give back. And on top of it, when you give back, you feel better than when you did 100%. I mean, my gosh, I feel embarrassed that I'm getting more out of it than I'm giving. And I feel bad to almost say that, but holy cow, I Thursday nights when I'm driving home, I just some nights are tough, but guess what? 9 out of 10, you just got a smile on your face, and you're thinking, God, that was fun. What else was I going to be doing tonight? Watching TV, and I'm a little tired doing that. Let's get out and do something for folks.
Yeah. That's so powerful because I think sometimes we underestimate the power we each have to impact the life of another person in a very positive way.
Well, I'll be honest with you, AP. Sometimes I sit there and go, geez, I'm not really doing much here. There's only 6 guys here. And then one of the kids will say something to me, and I'll be thinking about them. I'm like, wow, Mike, I think, you're doing a little more than you realize. But once again, these kids didn't have the family structure that I had growing up. So, a lot of times we just sit and listen a lot. And I'm like, wow, most people know me. It's hard to believe that I sit and listen. But, that's what these kids need sometimes. They've never had that before. That's have a grown adult listen to their problems, and they have no one to turn to. So this gives them that opportunity, and I think it's great that I can be there to at least do that for them.
That is so awesome, Mike. Oh, we're so fortunate to have you. So as we kind of end with a fun question, we typically ask our interviewee the question, and you don't know which one's coming, but I'm going to ask you this one, okay?
Okay.
So what is on your bucket list?
Well, I'll be honest with you. You hear that a lot with friends and stuff like that. And once again, given how I've been blessed, I honestly can say I don't have a bucket list because I treat every day like it's a bucket list. That every day I've been given this gift.
Wow.
if I had one day to live, I think I'd take our friend group and go out to Big Grove and have burgers and a couple beers and just talk about life. It doesn't get any better than that to me.
Yeah.
I don't care if we're in Paris or if we're in Wisconsin Dells or in downtown Cedar Rapids. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's who you're with and where you're coming from. So I seriously, I just enjoy every day, and I've been blessed that I've been given that gift to enjoy every day. I think most people just don't realize how good we have it.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I think that answer truly exemplifies just the essence of who you are, as a person, to really live each day to the fullest, right?
Well, yeah, and appreciate each day.
Yes.
And each day's not great, don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm not skipping through every day. Some days are tough, but you know what? If you didn't have tough days, I always say, if you wouldn't have Friday if you didn't have Monday.
Right.
So everybody gives Monday a hard time. Well, if we didn't have Monday, Friday every day can't be Friday.
Right. Exactly.
So, that's my someone writing this down. We got to get this down. Okay.
Oh, Mike, no, I've thoroughly enjoyed our time together today, and certainly every time I look forward to getting to see you, just because of the goodness you bring and everything that you do. So on behalf of YPN, thank you. Well, thank you for everything that you contribute to the organization in so many ways. And also on behalf of our participants, thank you as well for everything you do for them as well. So hopefully the listeners got a great depiction of what the great man is sitting right in front of me here. So thanks so much for joining us, and thanks for our listeners again. We look forward to having you on the next podcast. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for listening to My Why, a YPN podcast. We can't make our impact without your support. Please consider donating to YPN. Your gift will make a difference. Visit www.ypniowa.org/give to donate today.